Welcome back to the ARCA Zoomcast.
That's right.
Yeah. We got to talk about, before we get to this week's race at Berlin, let's talk about this past weekend at Sonoma and Iowa. We'll start with Sonoma. You were on the call for that one. That was a fun one to watch. I know it got cut short because of, time constraints. I know a lot of people were talking about that.
Who was talking about it? Was
Uh,
it Garth? Was it Garth talking about it?
no, I don't think so.
Right.
Social
Was it
social
Eric
media.
Estep? Was Eric Estep talking about it?
Probably. I don't know. Social media was talking about it though.
So again, Casey, just like any race we go to, our goal is always to get to the advertised distance. But unfortunately, the position that we're often in is we deal with TV windows and time constraints, and at Sonoma we had a pretty tight TV window, and it's unfortunate because I think we would have seen some more action in those final 9 laps or however many laps we still had yet to go there, and that's a bummer. But I'm super excited for Jake Drew. That he's a good kid. Bob Brancotti and Maureen Brancotti they have supported that series out in the West Coast for a long time. They do so much behind the scenes that a lot of people don't even realize that they're doing. And I'm happy for the whole group. There it is, just a great team, a great organization. They boy, it just seemed like no matter what they did last year, they just kind of came out on the short end of the stick. And I'm happy for him. Like I said, Jake is just a fantastic young man, and it's really great to see him finally get to celebrate these wins. And there was a lot of action out there. Unfortunately, we had some cars that got pretty banged up, but hopefully they get them pieced back together here, and we'll see them all out at Irwindale here in a few weeks.
Yeah, for sure. I know that. Yeah, we talked about the Brancotti team. They couldn't win at all last year, and now they've won two. Now both their drivers have won races, and Jake Drew finally got now has 2 wins on the season.
Right.
2 straight wins on the year.
He's got 2.
BMR,
Tanner Reich's got to win. Right.
Yeah, and BMR can't win.
Yeah, BMR's that's an interesting situation. Last year they were kind of the dominant organization last couple of years, and now it's kind of swung back to the Sunrise Racing team. And I still think it's great that out west we've got some of the family-owned teams. The Pedroncellis are very strong. PJ, he had a really tough day out there at Sonoma, which is really tough because that's his home track. But they're a legit contender everywhere we go. And I think that's really great to see. And I'm really looking forward to the final 6 races of the West season, because I think we are going to see at least one of those races where we get kind of an underdog winner out there. And I know PJ's hoping that it's him, although I don't know that I would consider him to be an underdog at this point. But yeah, I think we're going to get a non-Brancotti and a non-BMR winner again before too long.
Yeah, well, also another thing, BMR, this is their first year switching over to Chevrolet, so
right.
There's also
it takes a lot.
Its own growing pains.
Takes a lot of resources to make a change like that. So yeah.
Okay, so from one race to another, we go to Iowa, which talk about challenges. It has its own set of challenges with your good friend Mother Nature.
I don't know that she's my good friend.
Some days she is, and some days she isn't.
Yeah, not after Saturday. That was pretty tough. That was a long day, but I give our teams a lot of credit. Casey, they were ready to go. Yep. We didn't really have any weather related issues with the cars, and the drivers came out and participated in our autograph session there at Iowa, and made sure they spent some time with the fans. And it was a tough day, but I think we made the best of it. And I wish we would get a chance to go out to Iowa and not have the weather be a big part of the story. It's either too hot or it's too wet. I would love to go out there when it's 75 and sunny with a nice gentle breeze, a few puffy clouds in the sky, and we get to have a beautiful race day. But it just seems like every time we go out there, it's either too wet or too hot. But we still had a pretty good competitive race. Some surprises. All of our championship contenders had a tough day out there.
Yeah.
Including Jesse Love, who's not a contender for the overall title, but will be a contender for the Sioux Chief Showdown. It was kind of a strange situation to see all of those top teams kind of one by one dropping like flies there. And Nick Sanchez had probably the best day of that group, and here we are tied again for the points lead, which is kind of crazy 6 races into the year.
And Daniel Dye's only 12 points out. And of course,
Yeah,
for that and that reason, of course, we're going to the track he won at last year. Of course, we're going to Berlin Raceway out in the good state of Michigan. Of course, by the way, it's gonna get, speaking of hot, it's gonna get really hot here tomorrow.
the good state of Michigan or the state of Michigan? I don't know.
Well, that's where I live. I know it's.
Oh, okay. So yeah, it's definitely the state.
Yes.
Definitely the state then, if you live there.
Okay. All right. Good. Fair enough.
Although my brother did graduate from Pinckney High School there, Casey. How about that?
About that.
Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Yeah, I see your shirt.
Yeah, that was of course I have a lot of friends at Pinckney High School, as many may know. So going into this weekend at Berlin, we're going to expect a lot of things, and of course you can still purchase your tickets. Of course, there are still tickets available, I think, right?
There are always tickets available, Casey. Yeah.
And of course you can purchase those.
They won't turn you away. Show up. Jeff will find room to shoehorn you in there.
Yeah, I know I'm getting in there, but I'm talking about, of course, you can get them at any Grand Rapids or West Michigan area Menards.
Right.
So,
Yep. $20, can't beat it.
No, you can't. That's a pretty good deal to go see some ARCA cars out there. Going into this race, there's actually a pretty familiar face to longtime ARCA fans. How excited are you about Tom Hesser coming back?
Oh man, I'm not excited at all.
Oh.
No, I always enjoy having Tom Hesser around. Obviously, Tom is fun to watch on the racetrack, but I really enjoy the opportunity I have to visit with him and his dad, and they're just really great people. His dad has got a ton of great stories to tell from his days, road racing all across the country and all around the world. And yeah, they're great people. Tom has kind of stepped away from his career as a full-time racer to get his hands more involved in the family business. And of course they've got some young children now that they're taking care of, but this is really great to have him back. He's a really competitive guy. I was looking at his stats earlier today, and I think he's got 6 wins and 111 top 10 finishes, and and he was competitive right up until they got out of the car on a full-time basis. So I expect he'll be part of the show on Saturday. I don't know that he's, it takes a while to knock the rust off when you're competing against some of these young kids these days, but I expect he'll be up there fighting for a top 5, and if that car's good, he'll be up there fighting for the win. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Should be a good show for Mr. Hessert there.
Yeah. Going back to what, it just shows you how impressive Frank Kimmel was back in the later parts of his career when he beat all those kids in the series. So,
oh yeah.
That's good stuff there. A couple drivers are also gonna, make their debuts as well. I know that the club racing team and the Richmond, the Richmond team, are gonna have some new drivers in there. Greg Van Elst, of course, he's running most of the season. Benarini bringing 3 cars, and then of course our regular competitors that we see every week. You got the 2 Rev cars, you got Daniel Dye.
Yep.
Of course, you got 3 Venerini cars, and then you got Sammy Smith, Taylor Gray as well.
It's going to be a pretty competitive field up at the front, Casey. Unfortunately, as we've talked about, it's maybe not as big of a lineup as we would like. Maybe not as deep, but those front 10 to 12 cars are going to be there to put on a pretty good show. So I'm really confident it's going to be a very good, close, entertaining race, and I invite everybody to come out. Should be a good show on Saturday. And if you can't watch MVTV live, if you don't get MAV, stream it live on Flow Racing. So yeah, there's a lot of different ways you can watch this one, and I really do encourage you to come out. It's going to be a great night of racing. They've got a couple of their local divisions on tap as well, so should be a really fun night.
Yeah, it should be. Going into that race, a couple more things. How about Amber Balkan? How impressed are you with her?
Yeah, she's doing a nice job. She's done. I think she's doing exactly what I would have suggested to her if I was, in a coaching position. Just go out, make all the laps you can make. stay out of trouble, and we'll see where you end up at the end of the day. And she's really starting to rack up those top tens, and that's what she needs right now. She needs experience. She needs to build some confidence that she can go out there and do it. And I think as we see the season go on here, I think we're going to be getting to the point pretty quickly where she's going to be competing for some top fives. Rhett Jones Racing is a pretty competitive organization. They've got good race cars. They've got good people. Mark Rhett obviously is, a former championship winning crew chief on his own right. So I think we'll start to see them, knocking on the door for some top fives pretty quick. And Amber's a lot of fun to be around. She's always willing to do, some of the publicity seeking things that we ask her to do. So yeah, I'm looking forward to her, maybe getting up there and knocking on the door for a top five pretty soon.
Absolutely. Also another thing, how about MVTV, our new friends? Actually, they're not new friends, but how are you enjoying Krista and Mike on the broadcast? I mean,
I think they're doing great. I spend a lot more time around Mike than the others because we're down in the infield together most of the time. But I think they're great. It's great to have them aboard, and yeah, they've been great partners for going on 6 years now. So yeah, it's everything that we hoped it would be. Krista brings a lot of energy to it. She's very knowledgeable. She's very friendly. And yeah, I'm excited for their portion of the season to really get fired up here.
Yeah, of course they'll be on, I think, for this week, next week, and then they'll be on for a majority of the season. And then there's a stretch where Fox has it again, and then Mav's gonna really kick it in here with those races. But we got also, you guys made some announcements in the last 2 weeks since the last time we talked to you. When we go to the dirt races this year, Springfield and DuQuoin, there's going to be some prize on the line.
Yeah, the Performance Seed Dirt Double. If you sweep both of those races, you get a $50,000 bonus. And when that might not be earth-shattering news up in the National Touring Series levels, but for our guys, for our teams, $50,000 goes a long way. So I expect we'll see some of the some of our normal dirt track contenders, the Ryan Unzikers and the Kelly Kofskis of the world. I think we will see them, come back out and try to muscle their way into that big bonus. But I think some of our other teams will be, they don't want to give up any ground to those dirt interlopers at all. So yeah, it should just be another level of intrigue for those two races coming up here in August and September.
Absolutely. And today you guys just made an announcement about something you guys are going to do at Mid-Ohio with the Truck Series.
Well, it's the Menards Fan Fest there is going to kick off a big weekend of racing there at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. And, coming up on July 7th at the Ontario Menards location right there just outside of Mansfield, between Mansfield and Lexington. We're going to have a little fan fest in the parking lot there. We're going to stage some of the race transporters and get some of our vendor partners out there to have some games with some race fans and do some giveaways and surprise packs and, sell some race tickets and, hang out with some drivers and take some pictures and sign some autographs. And yeah, I think it'll be a really nice way to kick off that weekend. I've done something similar down there back in the day when, I was involved at Mansfield Motorsports Park. And I know that is an area that really does get into racing in a big way. And it'll be good to kind of reintroduce the Camping World Truck Series to that region. It's been since 2008, since trucks raced at Mansfield. So yeah, I think it's going to be fun, and I'm looking forward to it. It's always a good time when we get to hang out with race fans, Case.
Yeah, for sure. And one last thing, I know that obviously, if you haven't been paying attention of what's going on, I know that obviously the economics of this series may be struggling for some teams. Have you guys had a chance to talk about that in regards to car counts and all that?
Nope. We really just try to stay out of those types of conversations. Everybody's hurting when it comes to, fuel bills and all those things. So we understand those things going in, and, that's why we try to race on the days that we're scheduled to race. That's why we schedule the races the way that we do as far as practice and qualifying. And we try to keep teams off the road as much as we can and get them back home as quickly as we can. So, we face the same concerns that they face, Casey. So yeah, but as far as how these teams' budgets operate and that's that's kind of their business, and we don't interfere with that too much.
All right. Well, Charlie, thank you so much for coming on. I cannot wait to go to Berlin this weekend. My first time, so it'll be fun for sure.
Should be a good time, Casey. Look forward to seeing you.